Welcome to the June 15th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. We'd all rise for a pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank everybody for coming or dialing in. Just fresh off from town voting and town meeting. Some of that we'll discuss this evening. Any announcements from the board? We do have a new selectman. David Woodson. He's fishing. So he was elected and duly sworn in on Saturday, and he had pre-planned this event, so he is absent this evening. I do want to take a minute, and we didn't do it Saturday, and I regret that, but and thank Cindy Moore for her long service to the municipality here as a select person. She was a term in 2/3, so 5 years that she sat at this table and helped guide some of the direction that the town is now headed in. So anyway, I want to thank Cindy, and we will kind of miss her input. Won't miss the story about Stratford County, but we will miss her input. So
Actually,
anyway.
that slowed down in the last couple of years.
So new board, David will be with us next week, unless he's very successful fishing this week and changes his career path. So anything else from the board? If not, we do not have any appointments. Before we get into hearing of delegation and correspondence, I would, as we discussed Saturday, entertain a motion to add to new business the discussion of the non-election and reimbursement of expenses.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? So item 4 under new business, reimbursement of expenses to the two candidates. Okay, hearing a delegation. Any correspondence? Town reports, town administrators report.
Now that the municipal budget has been established, we're going to start inputting it into Trio. We'll have to set up at least one new department. And I talked to the auditor today, and they said that we could do it this year, so it automatically would roll over into next year. So that's the biggest thing, is getting all the budget stuff into the Trio at this point.
And for those that would ask the question, what's the one new department?
Oh, the IT department.
Okay. So,
I'm assuming Trio is software or something?
yes,
Yes, I mean,
Trio is the
software.
municipal
Budget.
software.
Yeah, everything has to be inputted line by each department. And then July 1st, you push a button and it goes over. Yep. You cross your fingers and hope it does.
Anything else, Nancy?
That's it.
Any questions of Selectmen's report? A lot of activity in the I think a lot of exhausting activity in the last week. Committee reports, we do have two reports tonight. The Friends of the Library, who were due up last week, and we graciously asked them to delay a week. So, Jack?
Thank you. Yes, I really appreciate the delay. Gave me a chance to be at the election site and talk to a number of people, and we were sending around a petition for people who publicly support the new library. We got 60 signatures and talked to a lot of people, so I appreciate the chance to be there. The last time I spoke with you in this formal way was on March 16th, and let me fill you in what has happened since that time. In terms of federal appropriations, since I last met with you, Representative Pingree has submitted our application to the House Appropriations Committee, and that was submitted among her highest of priorities, unquote. We are very happy about that. We submitted an application for $500,000. We don't expect to get $500,000. If we get anywhere close to that, I'll be more than happy. So I'm glad that we're still in the game. On the other hand, I'm holding it very, very lightly. I'm not figuring it into much of anything at this stage of the game. Last year, the House completed its appropriations sometime over the summer, and the Senate didn't finish theirs until December sometime. So when we'll get the final word, the next step is whether or not the House accepts it or not. And Debbie Downs did a lot of work on putting that application together, and we're happy that it was well received. Senator Collins sent a staff person down on a Thursday afternoon saying that the Senate rules are totally different from the House rules. And the Senate rules do not fund any kind of construction for museums and libraries and community centers and all that sort of stuff. But she was asking if we could put together a technology application to go along with the more formal application that we sent. So that was on a Thursday morning. Oh, by the way, they wanted it at noontime on Friday. Thanks to my great colleague over here, we put together an application which was very, very impressive to them, unquote. David and I talked briefly Friday morning, and then he worked for 2 or 3 hours to spell out all the detailed kinds of technology that you could ever possibly put into a building. All of it we would be raising money for the next 10, 12 years. I mean, none of it is stuff that we wouldn't want to make use of. We weren't going to open with it, that's for sure. But that's a $145,000 submission. Senator Collins is on the Senate Appropriations Committee, which I'm told gives her some maneuverability. What I take away from all of that, besides the hope that we will see some actual money out of it, is the fact that people outside of us who are used to looking at proposals ad nauseam looked at the proposal of what we have done, what the quality of it, the fact of it, et cetera, and were extremely impressed with it. I find that very encouraging. It's a very confirmation of the work that we've done since 2003, 2004 from a strategic plan on it. So that's where the federal stuff is. State level, there's nothing available. The only thing I'm glad about is with Matthew Eddy and looking at all his possible resources, I am comfortable that it's not there. There's no lingering doubt, oh, if we only had done this or we only had done that. Whether anything changes between Joe Wagner and Matthew Eddy, we'll hear about it, I'm sure. But at least what we have at this point, there's no state money around. On a local level, the Sanford Institution for Savings has pledged $10,000 over the next 5 years for us. They've given us their first installment. Saco Valley Credit Union has given their second installment of their $10,000 pledge. I found out subsequently that the Sanford Institution of Savings never gives that kind of money to anybody. So there was something about this proposal that touched Mark, who's the president, and whomever he deals with to have that happen. Beyond that, I know that there are 4 or 5 conversations going on in households about making pledges to this project. Those haven't borne fruit yet. We don't have numbers or anything like that. But I do know there are 4 or 5 conversations going on. And Victor Wright and Leo Burnett have a list of people that they're going to try to be talking to over the coming months. And hopefully all that will bear fruit. So that's what's happened since. we last spoke to you. As we move into the future, the first event is a community pig roast, which is on June 27th. It's a Sunday. We'll go from 1 to 4. We've got 130 pounds of roast pig. David Wright, who is Victor Wright's nephew, I believe, and Victor have done pig roast. They love to do these kinds of things. So there's music, lots of good food beyond roast pig, or potato salad and veggie burgers and all that kind of stuff. We've got 40 items being raffled off, some for adults and some for children. The meal is $8. Pay at the door. There are no tickets around. You just come on, show up, and we'll put a stamp on your hand and we'll welcome you in to have a good meal. Children under 12 will eat free. So we hope that people have a lot of fun. The driving force behind it is to get the public library community center back into people's consciousness. And it's really the beginning of a 4-month educational process. We'll do a lot of talking to people who are there, giving them information, talking very directly with them. If you want it to happen, you need to talk about it. As I've said to people at the election, I can't sit at your kitchen table and talk to people about the library. You can. So I need you to do it. I need you to be aggressive. I need you to be assertive. I need you to bring it up in conversation and talk about it, and talk about it. We can try to do the big stuff. So that's a subset of this whole community pig roast piece. Is have a lot of fun, but we're going to talk to you about what this is all about, why we need you to be informed about this, and we want you to vote in November. That's going to be a mantra that people are going to hear for 4 months, and I hope by the end of October they're just sick of listening to me. But that's the beginning of the summer. It's a major focus of where we're going for the summer.
Jack,
Yeah.
I probably missed it, but where was that being located?
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that, at the Taylor House property. And parking is in the town hall parking lot and in the elementary school parking lot. Obviously, people can't park on Route 5 and Old Alfred Road, but we've arranged for parking on both places. And if somebody has a handicapped person with them, that they can swing up and drop them off. And there will be a few handicapped places if everybody in the car is handicapped, but for the most part, it's parking will be in the 2 other places. We thought it was a great idea to use the Taylor House property. That beautiful piece of property is not used very much for big celebrations, and we thought that would be a great place to do it. Certainly very public. Can't miss it. And the final thing that's on my mind tonight is I want to begin a conversation with you. I would like to ask if we could set up a workshop in sometime in the fairly near future to begin a conversation around the referendum in November. If we look at some dates, you folks, if you want to do it by a majority vote, need to sign off on putting the referendum on the November ballot by August 3rd. It sounds far away, but it's not very far away. If you do it by unanimous vote, we're into September 19th, I think. It's 45 days. So I would like to just begin to have a conversation to map out together the steps in which we explore all of this and see what it's going to look like. Victor Wright is working on getting a revised estimate of the cost of this building. Victor thinks it's overestimated. Tom M.R.S.A thinks it's overestimated. And Victor has a long-standing relationship with the Wright Ryan Construction Company, who have volunteered to look at the blueprints and everything else that we've got and give us their take on what it was going to cost to build the building. So that's the subset of the summer, is a conversation with you, and we figure out what the referendum looks like and see where you folks are and we are, and figure out all the steps. I'm sure you've got public hearings in there, and you know more than I do what the other steps might be. I'm also aware that you probably need to show whatever the wording is to the town lawyer, and it's summertime and vacations, so we could get to August 3rd pretty quickly. So if we could meet in a couple of weeks, that would be terrific, but I'm open to working with you folks on whatever date works for, I don't know what your schedule is like. So that's where we are. Education, 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 and asking people for donations and working on the referendum. That's the next 4 months. Any questions, let me know.
I guess I would wonder if this is an appropriate time to set a date for a workshop. You're talking the next couple of weeks, so
No?
there's no time like the present to set it.
If
And
that
we're
works for
talking
you.
maybe at 5 o'clock before a meeting?
29th? I'd like Tom M.R.S.A there. He's going to be away next week, so the week of the 29th would work for us. I don't know if it works for you
Well,
folks.
29th is our last meeting of the month, which is typically workshop, doesn't have to be 5 o'clock. I think we can
Yeah.
roll it into a 6:30 or something workshop. And I'm not sure that we need a lot of time,
Mhm.
you know.
It's an
but,
initial conversation, see where we are. And,
So
Try to do it.
why don't we target the 29th?
29th?
Yeah.
What time do you want to do that?
We'll work, yeah, I would say, well, we've got miscellaneous stuff to do, but probably,
6:30?
yeah, 6:30 is probably a good target.
6:30? Your meeting starts at 6, doesn't it?
Yep.
Or you want to do it during the...
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That's our workshop day anyway, Jack, that's all right.
Oh, okay. Good enough. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
All set, I think.
All right.
We've got Jerry and Patty. Patty coming?
Patty,
Okay. So I guess, Jerry, you've got the whole, all the time is dedicated to you.
Thank you very much. Continuing on to the information regarding the campground up on Route 5, I was able to find the actual survey of the property, and I've given you a kind of a blow-up of that area that you see there on that board. The area in yellow is really the roadway, which is Route 5, Secocas Trail. Blue is the lake, and what we've discovered by looking at this survey that was performed in April of 2008, there's a footnote on the survey, and it reads like this: "It appears that the state of Maine does not own in fee the land encompassed by Route 5. The deeds all call for subject to the rights of the public to travel over and across Highway number 5. And if you look on the first page, which is marked number 1 here, the campground ownership does go across the road and indicates that it's 353 feet plus or minus to the lake. And that would continue southerly and then come back up and across the road and continue defining the boundary. So I guess what I'm saying to the board is that the campground does have access to the lake, and whatever land happens to be on the other side of the highway, and there isn't much of it, is for the use of the campground. And that's really all I have to bring to you as far as to continue from the information that we had discussed the last time we met.
Sherry, did you say that's state land, but the campground has access to it?
Well, actually, the deed for the campground indicates that they have ownership or title to the water.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
the state is saying that they're not making a claim to any of the land except for the right to cross
Okay.
the land
Yep.
of the campground on Route 5.
And you have a copy of that deed too, Joe? You have a copy
Yeah.
of that deed?
Yep.
And I don't know where that brings us, but that I think in finding the actual survey map kind of clarifies, along with the deed, clarifies the ownership of the the campground as it relates to the lake. I didn't know if you had any questions on that part. The other information I would bring is an update on the excise tax for the campers that are located in the campground. Out of the 36 units that are there, last time we counted, about 6 have paid excise tax, which means that come September 1st or thereabouts, when we plan to commit the taxes to the town for fiscal year 2011, those that have not excised by that date will be subject to a real estate tax, and they will get a property tax bill. So hopefully through the summer, there'll be more campers that'll come in and excise the vehicles.
How many did you say there was there total, Jerry?
Right now, we've got a count of about 36 units, give or take. And out of that, 6 have excised.
Okay. Anything else? Questions? We're good? Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Okay, first thing we've got on the agenda here, and the new business is recap critique of town meeting and the election. Probably the first item is the all-important one of how did this happen? So I guess, from the first thing that we need to really, I think, understand, and I'm not sure how you want to approach this, but I think ultimately we need to kind of break this down into, what steps were taken and who was responsible for what steps, and I think then compile it and I'll put it all together to determine, all right, what do we do to prevent this sort of, I'll just call it an embarrassing situation from happening again. I don't know who wants to lead that investigation, but I think it's got to be done where we literally sit and talk to the town clerk, and I think everybody that has somehow touched this, right? Be it the current road commissioner and in the board, and certainly Pam and Nancy, and I think just to sit down and just to document and record how we got to where we are.
I mean, there should be a primary responsibility and a backup check. Basically, that's, so that's what we want to see, is where's the primary responsibility? Do we have it set? And then who does the backup?
So I think there's 2 steps here. Number one is really just a kind of an investigation kind of piece of it. Maybe that might be a harsh word, but I mean, I think you got to delve into this and determine what was the root cause, and what do we put up and put in place for checks and balances as a cause and corrective action after we get done. So, I think really what we need is maybe 1 or 2 of us off the board, and Nancy, that just, because I think we all need to have input to that as well. We all need to be questioned as well of, why didn't the light go on in our, 5 feeble heads, to say, this just doesn't feel right or sound right or something, because none of that comes rushing to the forefront of, well, I should have known, but I didn't, and, it's like, happened, right?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
I'd be happy to put that together. My inclination is to sit down with Nancy and get her take on it, and then if there's anything that need to go further than that, but I'd be happy to write it up as. And I guess my question would be, is have we had a primary responsibility for checking on all the candidates to see that it's a legal election, that the legal candidates, whose responsibility is that, and and has there been a backup? And if not, then who should be doing it and who will be doing the backup? That would be pretty simple, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure we need to go off and say, let's put somebody's head on a stake, and
No.
hang it out in front of the town office, but I think what we really need to do is to, and I really think we need to go through the interview process with, setting with everybody that's could've, should've, would've been involved, and just talking through how do we get here, and then kind of boil it down to say, okay, these are the steps that we need to put in place so it doesn't happen again.
Well, again, I guess I feel best from the position of selectman to look into the part that what do we do to keep it from happening again, and I'd say that I'd like a report probably from Nancy as to what happened, because I don't want to go in there and start pointing fingers and saying this is feel that come back with you and say here's who's primarily responsible for this. I think Nancy can give us that information, and maybe she maybe point fingers inward too. But I'd be happy to take that information and say, okay, here's the recommendation, so it won't happen again, or it's unlikely to happen again.
Nancy, based on our personnel policy, is there a particular format that we should be following for this?
I missed that.
I'm asking Nancy, based on our personnel policy, is there a particular format that needs to be followed in
Well-
the,
Our personnel policy,
Deals
if
with
there's a problem.
personnel.
It deals with personnel. If there's a problem, I deal with it. If they're not happy with it, then they come.
That's why I don't want to go in
Yeah,
there.
well, I'm not sure that this becomes like I said, I for one don't want to run around and say, gee, who can we hang this on? I think we got to say, all right, there's a lot of culpability here, including the 5 people or 6 that were at this head table, right? And I think we need to just go through that exercise to say what was everybody's kind of involvement. And I think we all understand it starts with, nomination papers and those kind of things. So, but again, I don't think we need to say, well, gee, we're going to do this big personal investigation to find out. I think we just need to step through it, make sure that everybody has input as to the whys and wherefore, and gee, I just missed it, or whatever the case may be, and then kind of lay that out and say, all right, systemically, what do we put in place so it never happens again?
And that's the part, again, if Nancy finds that there was a job description, a clear job description that the person didn't do, that's a personnel problem, that's her problem, that's her dealing with that. But if it's something that isn't clear, and it was missed because it's not clear duty, then we'll work that out, and I'll report back to you as to what wasn't clear, what needs to be clear, whose responsibility needs to be, and who backs it up.
I'm
And
agreeable to that.
time frame? Week,
We
2 weeks?
do that week,
Got to be
Always
done
sit
sooner
down.
than later while everything's fresh in everybody's mind.
next week.
So. And we might have to, kick around and of just setting up and talking to people. But. Okay with that, Gordon?
I'm fine with it, as long as you said, it doesn't become, any type of a headhunting thing. I think that the buck stops with us, and we're responsible for it, and we need to take, own up to that. And then just, like I said, we can come up with a plan so that this doesn't happen again.
What else relative to, probably, that was the single biggest issue in town meeting, but any input, critiquing, budget-wise, I think that we kind of hashed that out with the finance committee. I think we were at least, the give and take, or at least the discrepancies or disagreements were at least known going in. I think the format, certainly of the warrant, with everything laid out, was pretty helpful to anybody that was looking at, you know, what makes this. I think that we need to make sure that everybody understands that we are not, even though that the warrant articles are set up that way, we do not budget this town by line items. We are, you know, departmentized, right? And it's so that we make sure that everybody understands that, so we don't get into a town meeting and say, well, you know, you overspent that line item by 5% or 10%. And that's just an educational
I
awareness thing.
think going to the school meeting the week before, Frank Sherburne had actually done a PowerPoint presentation on the school budget prior to the budget meeting commencing, and they used the projector, and I thought that it was very well done. It was very informative, and I think that would, I think when people can see something rather than always listening to what people are saying, they can actually see it. I think sometimes it makes more sense. We have that projector resource available to us. Maybe next year we consider starting off town meeting by taking, 10 or 15 minutes and doing, a PowerPoint presentation so everybody can see how the entire budget fits together. And then the only other thing I wanted to comment on was voter turnout on Election Day was, it was incredible. I think that certainly we learned that A through L is not a good breakup in the way that it goes. But one of the things that I found, I was at the polls for the majority of the day, and people were turning out to vote for the state election, the governor's primaries, and for one of the particular questions on the state ballot. And I was really surprised at the number of people that I talked to, both coming and going from the polls, that didn't realize that there were a municipal election that day, wasn't aware of what the questions on the municipal ballot were. And this year certainly shows that just a few votes really does make a difference. You had 2 items on the municipal ballot that were decided by single-digit votes. So I think if we're going to continue to do municipal elections in conjunction with state elections, somehow we need to get the message out about the municipal ballot a little bit better. I mean, I know we talked about it in our selectmen's meetings, but I think we need to look at how do we take that to the next level and reach more citizens about the municipal aspect of it.
Not only were there only about 65, 70, 75 people there at the town meeting, but I think I tried to count up, and I think there was between 10 and 12 people actually spoke at that town meeting, and there was probably only about 6 or 7 that spoke more than once. That's not a lot of participation. Now, I personally got to say that the articles went pretty smoothly. I felt somewhat exhilarated when I came home about the budget that we put forward and how well it passed. But then I started thinking about it and said, and thought, there was about 70 people that made a decision on that, and of those 70 people, a lot of people just didn't talk and were not engaged in any debate of any kind. There was some debate, but it was 1 or 2 people versus 6 or 7, and other people sat and watched and looked. So when we're looking at this next year at a new charter or a revision of a charter, and looking at what's the best way to get the most people involved in their government, and then the most people who are knowledgeable involved in their government. There's the huge issue, is that you want to get people that are voting with a base of knowledge, and a lot of people voting. So there's maybe, New Hampshire has done some things, there may be a a vote in the poll, and then a town meeting combination there. But I think that town meeting really did illustrate that it can go pretty smoothly with very little involvement of the citizens. That's what, the smoothness was great, the little involvement was a concern.
I think there's two things. Number one, the change that we made a few years ago and actually had a municipal election at the same time that there was a state and SAD or RSU and everything else, I think was certainly brought, and I don't care what drove them out, you drive them out for whatever the polls drive you out to, right? So I think that date in and of itself will work and bring out more people. Yes, we think we need to educate more, but that's probably no different than any year going into a town meeting. The disconcerting part for me is and I counted 80 people at one time, and I think at least 8 of them were town employees that don't live in this municipality. So, you got to really say, do we really have, and everybody has a chance, everybody has the same chance to come to town meeting, and I don't care whether we've had them in March or April or June or whatever the case may be, what you're seeing is a significant slide in the amount of attendance and enthusiasm. And I guess the only way you bring them out is to put something controversial on the ballot, but I'm not sure that even does it anymore. So I think we have an opportunity with we're going to elect a charter commission in November, and I think that we really, the challenge for the charter commission is really to, I think, look at, is this the way we want to continue, or something's got to stimulate it, because I'm not, you're right. I mean, it's nice to go in and everything runs smooth, right, and walk out. But the fact of the matter is that what did we see? 1/10 of 1% of the population of the community. And registered voters, 76 or 74 or 5 out of how many? 4,000? 4,300? Even the day of elections, I mean, granted, it was only a primary year, but what did we figure, 1,500
Yeah,
local?
1533, I think it
something like
was.
that. I mean, it's kind of hard with all the different ballots and different parties and everything else, but the fact of the matter is that not a big turnout, but it was certainly more than what we would have got on a Friday.
And looking at that, we had something like 200 municipal ballots that were left blank.
Yeah.
And there are places in New Hampshire, again, and this could be up for the Charter Commission to look at, but there are places in New Hampshire that will have a town meeting and will develop through the town meeting actual numbers on the money articles, and then a week later it goes to referendum, and you vote on the 8 or 10 articles, major articles.
Like the school budget does.
It's like the school budget. It's kind of like the school budget. I think you can do it the other way around, too. You can have a referendum, and if the referendum doesn't pass, or certain items on the referendum doesn't pass, you take it to a town meeting form. So I think there's ways of doing it both ways, but the problem is with a straight referendum is you get people going in there and voting on stuff that they haven't read anything about, and if there's anything that is at all complicated, they're voting on something they don't know.
The other thing is, I think, and a couple of people spoke to me about it, and certainly, there's no reason that we shouldn't be voting at this facility. I understand the parking sometimes gets a little bit strained, but, we get down to that school on a Tuesday, and, the parking, even though there's a lot of it, is all in the back, because, you've got
Yeah.
Staff and everything, there's a school day, right? I mean, we disrupt the school, right?
Part of the problem with that, the school was going to have all of their staff park at the back side of the parking lot, so that the front part of the parking lot could be available for voters. However, the traffic cones didn't get put out before staff members started getting there. So by the time the janitors went out to block off those spots, they'd already been filled up by staff. So I think if we were to continue there, they recognized that that was a problem, that they would need to get out there sooner.
I just think if everybody knew that they were voting at the town office, that's where they go to vote, that's where
Because
they
you
go
put
to
200 people in there, then we all end up in the cellar together. But,
Yeah.
whatever. Jack?
Do we have an actual number of how many people came to the town meeting? Did we have
Uh,
an official
I would
tally?
guess
Counted 86, I had it on a pad, and it was 86.
86 total
Yes.
walked in and registered, so,
But
but
the final vote on the LD1 was 52-7, which is...
Yes, I heard that, and I figured some people had probably left.
And like I said, at one time, I actually physically counted everybody in the room, and I think there were 80, and like I said, Clint was there, and Tom, and Julie, and, and you start peeling out, the people that aren't even, I mean, they work for the town, but they're not registered voters, You get into the low 70s.
Yeah, can I just, I'm thinking a lot about public education for obvious reasons. And it'll be interesting to watch what we try to do over the summer around the new library piece. But I was thinking about how do you educate the public so that they have an understanding of what they're voting on? I think it's a very labor-intensive process. I think it requires print material, cable access stuff, door-to-door stuff. I don't know how else you get through the lack of identification with the town that I think is an underlying issue that runs all the way through so many things.
How many dollars do you think was spent on statewide referendum question 1?
Probably several
And
hundred
how many
thousand.
people do you think went into the voting booth that
That's the
actually
problem.
understood what that meant to them?
Oh, I agree. I think that's very difficult.
So this is not unique.
No, it's not
something
unique.
that, I mean, all we can continue to do is to drive education and exposure, I think
Right.
is probably the right thing.
Right.
But I'm not sure, Jack. I mean,
I'm not
it's,
sure either. I'll probably have some thoughts in October.
But I
But,
don't know how many millions of dollars was spent on TV ads and paper and
Right.
signs and everything else
Mhm.
to get people to vote yes or no on one. And
Yeah, I guess I'm just raising the question. Do we
it
just
was
need to think
probably
about
whatever
how we do
sound
it?
bite somebody heard last, that might have floated them into the booth. But
I don't think that we're experiencing anything that other communities throughout the state are experiencing. There seems to be a general systematic voter apathy. And a number of communities have even moved away from, town meeting forms of government because of that. Is that the answer here? I don't know. I think that, the Charter Commission will certainly have that discussion on, how the municipal government should be going.
Doug?
Well, the Board of Selectmen and the school committee met a few weeks ago. And this week at town meeting, we appropriated some $90,000 to do ditching in this town. There was a vote to transfer some money from one account to another. And when you talk about getting people out, better informed people, and that way that article was written almost led to its own defeat because it didn't explain the amount of money that could have been gotten by transferring this money into the town of Waterboro and then the town using that as seed money to go with the state. It was certainly an error in the writing of the article. But, there's a problem. We've got $90,000 here, and I'm concerned about how that money's going to be spent. Not about who spends it or who does it. I'm just concerned about where it's going to be spent, because there probably is the most serious drainage problem in town is right on the old Alfred Road and on Oak Street. And I think it's time for the board to step forward and take action. I think a class action suit from the town of Waterboro to RSU 57 would be in order. Because there's no reason that the town of Waterboro should be the one that pays the bill for fixing that drainage totally down there. That should be split among 6 towns. If we gotta pay 1/6 of it, that's one thing, but paying the whole thing ourselves. And those people down there deserve, to not be drowned out as many times as they've been drowned out in the last 2 or 3 years. And the cure is so simple. It isn't like it's a complicated cure. It's like pulling a splinter out of your finger. All you gotta do is do it. And that's what's gotta be done down there, is just do it. It's that simple, You can just carve in and pull the splinter out, and there you can just carve a little ditch in the ground and put some pipe in it.
Snapping a Band-Aid off, right?
Yeah, just like snapping off a Band-Aid,
Nancy, you never did get another reply from Frank Sherburne, did you?
Yeah, when you get over here, who's gonna send that right
Yeah,
out?
because last week I did ask what had come of that meeting, because Frank was supposed to go back and talk to the full school board about it, and Frank's reply was that they did discuss it, and he had the notes in his head, and that he'd be replying to the selectmen in a few days as to what the outcome of that was. So I don't think it's fallen off the radar. I think we're kind of waiting to see what was the school board going to say, and I know certainly it's not something that we're just going to set aside and...
does this board think, the members that was there think when we left that meeting, there was any question about what there was a cure for that problem?
I don't,
The town of Waterboro paid for the engineering study that I used as an example to how it could be drained. We paid for it, and Sebago Technics showed clearly that it could be done. And I think that the town probably should put some money into Oak Street itself, but the water problem to the northeast, the northwest of that place, however you want to say it, certainly needs to be solved before you can take care of that water problem down there. They put 54,000 yards of fill in a big hole up there that was the absorption area for all that water. And I think that, it's clear that the town of Waterboro should not be the one that pays the full bill for taking care of this water issue.
Well, what I understand in your presentation that day, Doug, that it would be easy to bring it back to the way it was before the school was built. But to abate it completely, you've got low land and a water problem that's been for a long, long while, that with the proper ditching, and that we could bring it back to the way it was 10 years ago, but you're not going to absolutely wipe out the problem of wetness and some pooling, right?
If the school takes care of their problem, you're going to take care of a lot of the problem in, I don't remember the name of that subdivision, it's off Oak Street, that's all I can tell you. And, there's a 10-foot elevation difference between the end of Henry Milne subdivision and the paved road going into the school. That is ample elevation to drain that down so that there'll never be any standing water there. So it'll be an improvement over what was ever there before.
Okay.
If they choose to, and if the school said, okay, we're gonna fix it, we're only gonna run the pipe at 5 feet, it's gonna cost an additional X number of dollars to run it at 9 feet, then the town had to pick up that little bit of money to make a difference on Oak Street. But if you drop that pit, the old pit, what's left of the old pit, if you drop the water below the elevation that it is right now, you're going to seriously decrease the elevation of the groundwater that's forcing it to run, because there's 6 feet of difference in elevation from the school parking lot to the road down at Oak Street.
So we can't guarantee to people you're not going to have damp cellars again, but what you can say if we do this, you're not going to have the pooling of water and the water over the street and people in that type of situation. That will be, and if it does pool, it's going to be a very quick thing, and the runoff is going to take place
That needs a major drainage problem, but with some ditching and a few culverts, with the existing culverts that are in there, you could take care of that. But if you stop the school water from coming down there, you could probably stop them from needing a canoe or a kayak to get in and out of their house. You know, it's not general, John, that we use a boat to go up the street. I mean, they do down south, but up here, most people drive in their car. You know, just not the way it ought to be. And I'm really concerned about this ditching money, which is, you know, was a good thing. But there's a lot of roads in town of Waterboro that are neglected. People forget that every winter when you go out there and you put 3,000 to 5,000 yards of sand on the road, you figure 5,000 yards over 50 miles of road, that's 100 yards to mile. You do that for a few years and somebody's got to go out there and scrape up that sand. And it's more expensive to scrape it up than it was to put it down. And we've been doing it for a long time over a lot of roads. That's why we started the ditching program. But the number of roads we got exceeds the amount of money we've put in it. This $90,000 may make a difference. Thank you.
Okay.
Doug, are you talking about the monies that were left over from the West Road project? Is that the 90 you're
that's
referring to?
fixed.
No, we had 30, then we had a special,
I don't
we had
think.
30 in.
Right.
It was
Okay.
60 in like a
Oh,
capital
okay.
account.
The
and
two
40 in
articles.
the
60 and
account.
90.
Right.
But when I was saying, that, you know, the article that transferred the West Road money to this sidewalk fund, if you read the article on the sidewalk fund, that money could have been used to do drainage to help Oak Street, okay, in preparation for the sidewalk, because it says preparation, engineering, and that's all covered, except the fact that you could have gotten possibly a grant for a couple $100,000 if you put up the seed money.
Two kind of issues, right? Number one, the referendum question could have been explained a little more.
Yeah, and then
Thorough,
the
and then
$90,000 we got, I don't want to see that go to take care of RSU 57's water issue, you know what I mean? I think that issue ought to be solved by 6 towns, not 1.
Yeah.
Well, what's unfortunate is that the reporter didn't run a letter that was sent to the editor that explained the entire, that bond. And I can tell you that one of the members of the Road Review Committee is currently circulating a petition to try and get a recount on that particular article, because 5 votes, the other direction it would have passed.
Does the Board of Selectmen have the right to request a recount? Not on referendum.
It'll be a citizen.
And
But the point,
How long do you have to get that ready? How many days from the
we
election?
said it was 5 business days.
It's going to be in tomorrow.
The other issue, I think, that in hindsight with that article is, we should have picked our poison and run with it, instead of having, you know, it could have been used for various things.
Yes.
Yes, we knew it had to be an infrastructure thing, but we should have said, it's going to be, X amount of dollars is going to go towards this, and the rest of it's going to go to another project, period. But as it stands now, it's going to pay down the bond, so. Anything else? I mean, we can critique this forever, I suppose, but I think generally 85% of it went pretty good, but the 15% that went bad went real
Really
bad.
bad.
All right, committee annual appointments, really annual appointments, all right, Pam, we've got Matt as fire chief and code enforcement and plumbing. Code enforcement, plumbing, what else is she?
She's on the code enforcement
In plumbing?
Deputy-ish.
and then she has 2 deputies.
So,
Maybe one for building inspector? Or did they roll that?
Yeah, they kind of rolled it all into
Okay.
code enforcement.
I remember they used to have.
Yeah, it used to
at
be
the
plum
two.
building, code enforcement. Yeah, they kind of rolled it all into.
Well, you want to just roll through these?
yeah, I think more importantly, we need to take care of we'll call them the
Annual appointments.
structural ones anyway, that
Okay.
from a municipality and EMA and fire chief and health officer, et cetera.
I'll make a motion to appoint Pam LaRue as EMA director, Matt Bors as fire chief, Lisa Bennett as health officer, Patty Berry as Code Enforcement Officer, Plumbing Inspector. Peter Gordon as Deputy Code Enforcement Officer, Plumbing Inspector. Robert DeVillano as Deputy Code Enforcement Officer, Plumbing Inspector. Patty Berry as Deputy Health Officer. Pam LaRue as Deputy Health Officer.
Second.
Any discussion on any one of those? All those in favor? Opposed? We do have a couple for Old Home Days, which we probably ought to deal with, right? 3 of them here. Make sure that we keep that going. So,
I will move that we accept Lisa Tudor, Glenn Willett, and Linda Willett to Old Home Days Committee.
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor? All right, just so everybody is aware, and anybody that happens to be listening, either in the room or over TV, as of the 1st of July, we will need we have 2 vacancies on the Saco River Corridor Commission. We have 2 vacancies on the Finance Committee. We have 1 vacancy on the Fair Hearing Committee. We have 2 vacancies on Parks and Rec. 1 for Eco Maine alternate rep. Library Board of Trustees, 3. Planning Board, 2. Transfer Station Recycling Committee, 4. Assessing Board of Review, 3. Zoning Board of Appeals, 4. Road Review Committee, 2. Cemetery Committee, 5. Cable TV, 1. And Economic Development Committee, 1. So if anybody is interested, it's good that we know how many people we have on committees, but we don't know how long a road commissioner's term is. But anyway, I'm sorry. I guess we have to take that light. We have a bunch of needs, and anybody that's interested in serving the community, please put in your application, and we will work to appoint those over the next few weeks. Anything else on committees appointments?
Did we abolish the Public Safety Committee? There's no reference to this
The
whatsoever.
Public Safety Committee, we could use
Part of the charter, but
seven
it's been active
people,
for
and
3
a
years.
Conservation Committee, if anybody's interested, for about 7 people. So those are both identified in the charter and have not been active. All right, item 3, discuss vote on laminated pass policy. Evidently, we have clarification issues, again, with laminated stickers at the transfer station. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have a policy today that says that if someone is a rentor of a facility, that they can get a laminated sticker so that anyone renting that piece of property for a week or a month or a day or whatever could come in to the transfer station and dispose of trash, household waste. Household waste, right? All recyclables. Not Joe's left front fender of his VW and somebody's rear end and all that good stuff. So it's for household waste only. So that fee is $20. It's a laminated fee. It's good for a year. Now we have someone that has children, kids, relatives, and they want a laminated pass just so that anybody that happens to be taking the household waste to the transfer station for the weekend can use the pass. We don't do that at any other residential facility, right? So I guess what, and Clint, you can speak for yourself, but I think what you're asking for is clarification, or?
Right.
And more so that I think they come to the town clerk to do them, right? So there's a question when the town clerk, so the policy today reads that the laminated policy is for seasonal rentals.
Seasonal rental only.
Right.
You voted out last year, I believe it was, or a year before. You could buy a sticker to put in your car, and those got handed around to the family, For $10, they could buy those, and everybody was using them. Somebody maybe from Sanford, wherever.
Okay,
And that's now what they want to do with these rental stickers.
Right, they just want to let anybody,
That's right.
everybody use them. So the policy was originally established for seasonal rental
That's right.
properties.
That's right.
So do we want to reconfirm that? Or what is your pleasure?
How many of these are you averaging annually?
A lot.
I
I
mean,
mean, it used to,
50, 100?
it might be 20, 30, but now it's the ones that can't get those for their vehicle, the individual vehicles. They can't get those now, so they want these. It's just an easy way to get in and not have to buy a sticker.
How would the idea of paper bag for renters work? We got all those, we have all those tons of bags that are sitting in storage. If they rent up here for a week, they come to the town hall and buy a couple trash bags. We get rid of those and, get revenue at the same time.
Bad idea?
That's not,
And that would apply just to seasonal rentals.
That was fair and equitable.
and so they pay $2 a bag for those bags, and they don't have to buy a sticker. And they, if a person rents for 2 weeks and they use one bag, it's $2 if they use 2 or 3 bags, it's $6. And if they're all summer, they may have to use 5 bags. That's a great idea.
Makes for good discussion, I'm not sure.
See, we get our
I can
paper
support
bag
that.
anyway.
Something
Anyway,
for the
what-
November referendum, I guess.
What do you want, what do you want to do here?
Well, Clint was talking before the meeting, and one of the things that he kind of threw out was increasing the cost of that permit so that it's substantial enough that it's not going to be beneficial for somebody to get this permit and be passing it around from family to family. Clint had said maybe like a $50 pass.
Yeah, but, I mean, listen, we got how many people that have rental property on the lake? Or have property on the lake that it's seasonal, they've got,
Well,
Cousin Joe uses it one week and,
There's quite a few in Arrowhead that are doing this.
to me, that's not seasonal rentals, is it? I mean, unless,
Well,
don't we know through Jerry and the assessment cards and everything what's seasonal? I mean, it seems to me that we ought to be able to hang a framework on this that says this is what you got to prove to get a multiple use pass.
See, that's the comment we're getting, you can't prove on nothing.
I mean, again, the bag use, you get, everybody comes in with a sticker, it's business as usual, and if you don't have a sticker on your car, here's a bag. It'll cost you $2.
So what's this proposal, I mean, you got a whole stack of things here, right, that you
well,
make?
those are laminated passes
Okay.
we give out.
So those are what we give out today?
Yeah.
So what if we ask Jerry if there's a way of him telling us which properties are seasonal and coming up, what are other towns doing?
This is very clearly, it says summer rental permit.
That's right.
But if they're coming in and say, prove that I'm not
You
in
know,
summer
I mean,
rental.
in January, it'd be tough for them to come in and say, I get a summer rental, right?
And how much is that?
$20.
Well,
Maybe it
it
should be
usually
50.
happens this, for the next 2 months, mainly, you know.
Right, so if I own a place on a lake and I rent it, all right, I would suspect that I could come in and get one of these, fair and equitable, right?
Right?
And,
Well, it was that way as long as we had the pass for the other individuals that live in town that want a laminated sticker. And we did away with that.
as we should have,
That's right.
okay?
But now those people think, well, I'm gonna rent some rooms out, you know?
I think we gotta have proof of, you know, show me a contract, show me something that says you're renting, right? Or you're a,
I don't think the burden of proof is on us to
No,
prove
me
that they're renting. I think the burden's on them to show us that they're renting in order to get the permit.
they come in, we've got a lot map of where it is. If it's in the middle of, you know, the village, probably good odds they're not a summer renter, right?
So, I mean, so you've got a choice. If you come in and you rent for a summer, you can buy a sticker for your car, or you can get a summer, you can get a laminated sticker, let's say for $50. And if you get that laminated, and if you're a renter, if you're renting out, you can get one of those laminated stickers and give it to your clients, and they pass it back to you when they've done their week or 2 weeks, and you give it to the next people, and you get the whole summer for $50.
That's what they've been doing with the $20 sticker. That was the intent of the $20 laminated sticker.
Maybe it needs to go up to 50.
The summer rental, is that good for a year? Or is it just for,
Or maybe that's,
It's good,
maybe,
the owner of the cottage, it would be good for a year.
oh,
So
so,
it's
so,
summer
so,
rental.
so here's the fix.
Right.
If I own a cottage, I need to get a dump sticker. It's gotta be tied to the registration of my vehicle. It's like everybody else's, right? Because I'm a taxpayer and I have household waste because I own property, right? Not some vacant lot somewhere, but I own real estate, all right? If he wants his renters to be able to do it, we put a date on this that it's good June 30th or June 15th through September, whatever. And you gotta buy one of these.
Yeah, but some of the people rent in the wintertime with snowmobiles and what have you.
I think the vast majority is the summer, right?
Right.
So if we deal with, put a time frame on it that it's a summer rental, and if the owner of the property, they want to come any other time, they gotta have a regular dump sticker.
What's to
Doesn't that
prevent,
solve it?
what's to prevent 3 abutting seasonal property owners to chip in and buy one pass and spread it amongst themselves?
Nothing. But, I mean, if you want to micromanage it down to that level, I think, other than that, we now are seeing some people that are trying to abuse a summer rental permit, right?
Right.
So let's put hang a time frame on it. It's a $20 fee. It's for a summer rental,
May 1st to probably
September 30th.
October, because sometimes we have nice weather here in October. Well, yeah.
So make it May 1st to October 1st.
But they can still pass it on to neighbors. I'll go and come back and give it to you, and you go.
Right, they can.
They're not the people that are abusing it. The people that are abusing it is somebody that's living somewhere and not necessarily in a rental property, and they're swapping the sticker around. So eliminate it.
You must have an idea of who those people are too. I mean, you've got the same 3, 4 guys that are working at the transfer station. You see the same people
Same.
coming in, out, and out, and out. So you must have an idea of who it is that's misusing these passes.
If I refuse them, though, it happens, right, Pam? They come right down here and they go see Pam.
All right.
Okay.
So this is easy. Hang a date on it.
So communicate with them that we're not letting this person in for this reason. I mean, it's just a simple communication.
As you know, I'm usually a mild-mannered guy, but I'm getting sick of talking about this, okay? I really am. To the point where, put a date on it, tell them it's a summer rental program, end of the story. I mean, I don't, and it's, I don't know how much clearer it can be. If you don't meet this criteria, you don't get one. And you can go see, you come, send them to me.
You heard that, Dave.
Pratt and Whitney.
I got it.
I mean, it is ludicrous that we've had this municipal transfer station for how many years? And every year we come back and say, well, we gotta tweak this, gotta tweak that, because somebody's abusing it. So let's put a date on it, call it a good, and that's it.
Didn't they add a pretty significant rental tax in the last couple of years?
They're supposed to.
When you rent.
Yeah, how many people you think are sending in that sheet to the state saying, oh, by the way, I rented my cottage for 4 weeks in the summer and I got $1,000 a week and
No
I'm
problem.
sending my
Sticker, and I
5%
think
into the
you
state.
had it in the state.
Right? That ain't happening.
Just remember, Clint, don't send them to me, because I'm gonna sell them back.
Or, yeah, they can either come to see me or they can go buy a bag from Gordon. One of the two.
But Dennis, the big problem is they come to the transfer station. Clint refuses them, so they come to the town hall and the town hall sells them.
Well, the town hall is
So we
not.
gotta-
Town hall's
One
only
place ought to
gonna.
be selling them, not two, three
Right,
places.
so, but he doesn't sell laminated stickers,
No.
right?
Well, yeah, I do. I have a form that I make out. and I
Okay,
take
right,
it.
right. So if they don't have the form from Clint, they can't get the sticker in here.
Simple enough.
Don't do it.
Form's
put a
gotta have
date
your
on it.
signature on it.
The policy stands, right? Policy doesn't have to be changed.
Okay.
All you need to do is to put something, framework around the sticker.
Yep.
And I only want you to promise me one thing. You will not come back talking about stickers again for at least another year.
Until the winter for the winter rentals.
Or until the bags are all
June
gone.
1st to September 1st, right?
All right?
Yeah.
You got your directions?
Sure.
What now?
I just wanted to tell everybody that we got our municipal recycling report from the state. You all got a copy. And it came out at 43.31% this year.
Excellent.
I think so.
And let's see.
And it would appear you're making progress.
Yeah, I was gonna say, while he's up there, we go on with the hauling.
Where in the overall standings does this percentage fall in, I mean, comparatively with other communities? Are we pretty much on par? Are we-
No, we're above,
We're
we're
above the curve
way above, way above. Majority,
on our recycling efforts?
yes,
So, in essence, we're doing a much better job at it.
yes, yeah,
That's because the state looks at the whole picture,
yeah.
and EcoMaine only looks at household waste. So
And,
you and Nancy are making progress?
yes, we are. I don't know if you want to bring it up tonight or put it on the agenda for next week or,
What do we need to do?
well, he took his truck, he made 2 trips in,
Okay?
and he said he was amazed that, it's really a nice facility, and he got great treatment, and he would only charge an extra $6. He figured it took him 2 gallons of gas extra.
So
So it comes out at
the
136.
contract needs an amendment?
That's right.
I guess you and Nancy can propose that to us.
Okay. And one more thing. David the fisherman. He left me orders.
What'd you do, Lee? You got some
Well, I got a list from
carcasses up there, or what?
No. He wanted to know if it would be possible for everybody to start working for the new compactor. He'd like to see it in operation before cold weather.
He'll be sitting right next to us here, next
He
to
can bring it up.
And he can bring it up.
I think, Mr. Chairman, that he could be appointed to oversee that operation, and then he could be assured that it would.
We do have the money, and, yeah, we need to move sooner than later, I would agree. Anything else? All right. Item 4, reimbursement of our 2 candidates.
I will move that our candidates put in a bill for signs and newspaper ads, those types of things.
Out-of-pocket expenses.
Out-of-pocket expenses, and that we reimburse them.
Second.
Any discussion?
Does any portion of the municipal insurance cover anything like that?
I would assume we would take it out of incidentals. Anything else? All those in favor? Opposed? So, Pam, can you get a note off to both Scott and Doug? If all they really need to do is to, I think, show proof of an expenditure, right? Copies of the bills.
And I will, since we are changing insurance companies, I will contact them to make sure it's not hidden in one of them.
Did we vote to accept them before or after
Be
the
in a
election?
small print.
Oh, by the way, we'd like to add this as a rider onto our insurance policy.
Yeah, it's under the gap.
In the event that we, again,
Which we
Forget-
won't.
They may cancel your policy.
yeah, right. All right, let's move on to old business. Discuss vote to approve Asian Taste liquor license renewal. Saw the list of discrepancies last week. That has now been resurrected, or, resolved.
Rectified?
Rectified. And we have a letter here from Patty and Lieutenant Frazier that says so. So what is your pleasure here?
So what, I didn't see that. You
they've-
said it's been rectified?
Right, it's been
Oh,
rectified.
okay.
Are they substantially in compliance or in full compliance? Did they fix everything?
Says they have corrected the safety issues that were listed in the letter of June 4th.
I will move that we approve the Asian Taste liquor license renewal.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All right. Okay, discuss vote medical marijuana dispensaries. We have a letter here. I don't know if it's in the packet here or not.
Yeah,
It is.
If I can get to it, I will read it.
It's a long one, if I remember. May concern.
Well, there was a lot of bantering back and forth, right, on moratoriums and that kind of stuff.
Did you want their draft letter or their request?
This was the letter that came from a Leo Doobie, I believe is the name.
Yes,
right?
here it is. I need a letter of,
Need a letter of approval, consideration for medical marijuana dispensary to be upheld in York County. We're trying to get approval for a permit in Waterboro. We think that the dispensary would benefit to the town as well as surrounding community. It would be appreciated if you could send a letter to DHS on my
Department of Health
behalf.
and Human Services.
I have attached our summary. If you could please read it over, we'd appreciate it. If there are any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me.
Now, this
So-
would be the same company that was in the Portland Press Herald, thank you, Joe, for sending me that link, that's trying to get the majority of dispensaries across the state. There's gonna be-
Sunday's Press Herald.
Yep, there's going to be 8 dispensaries allowed, and they want to have at least 4 of them. This particular company called Ahead Care.
So my, and I'll ask for a motion here sooner or later, but my put would be is that we would not send her a letter of, but that's my opinion,
Well-
on
I would-
their behalf, but
I would kind of concur with
We
that,
don't-
because I
we
don't
don't
know
have
that they
a-
even meet the
we don't have
criteria.
a moratorium, but there's nothing that says we have to support this gentleman's efforts.
I did draft a letter that's in the packet to send to DHHS that does not sit in favor of having a dispensary in Waterboro, listing out several reasons why: lack of full-time public safety, law enforcement, road infrastructure, and the fact that this would be a nonprofit medical facility means that there would be no tax benefit to the community either. So we're looking at a type of facility that could potentially cost the community money with no revenue coming in, and then the burden of that is shouldered by all the taxpayers within our community. I did have an opportunity to talk to Sheriff Willett on Saturday at town meeting to kind of get his ideas and his thoughts on it. And he was going to be sending a letter himself to DHHS about what his thoughts were on a dispensary and how it would impact his department if there was to be a dispensary in Waterboro or within York County, period. So he's going to be sending along a letter with his own thoughts.
So in a sense, with the, rather than a letter of support here, we could send a letter with the following points. We feel that Waterboro would not be an ideal place because of lack of full-time police support. And
I think
et cetera, et cetera.
Tammy Jo has laid that out very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
in this law.
Yeah.
So is that some, I would certainly support that being sent.
You would support a non-support.
I would move that we have a letter written, that we write a letter.
The letter's been written, John. It's in your packet. I drafted a response.
You have, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I drafted a response, and it's in the packet this week.
Okay,
And
well
it lays out why,
I'm
you
sorry.
know, that the board would not be in favor of such a dispensary and listing
Okay,
out
I'm
why
sorry,
we
I
wouldn't be in
did not see
favor.
that.
Still want to make the motion?
Well, having not read the letter, I think probably.
Well, how about the other side? Anybody want
I'll make a motion
The idea of
that
the letter.
we send a copy of the letter to DHHS that lists the reasons why we would not be in favor of a dispensary in Waterboro.
to?
I wonder if we need a point of order to act first on whether or not we should honor this gentleman's request, vote that down, and then vote to send our own letter up.
Well, he's asking for us to send a letter of support. I suppose that you are correct. We could respond to him saying that we would prefer not to at this point, and in fact, we're sending a letter.
CC him a copy.
You know, I think that's probably appropriate. If you'd want to include that in your
And I
motion.
would make the motion that we CC a copy to Mr. Doobie and Mr. Soroy.
You good with that?
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any input from the crowd?
Only that it's rather ironic that his name is Doobie, I guess.
That's a good one. It's spelt that way. Like in Doobie Brothers.
Bogart or something.
That's pretty sharp, David. Any other further discussion? Sensing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
And then my next question with this would be, we had talked about having a moratorium on medical marijuana dispensaries. We received this request prior to that moratorium being in place. Could we still implement a moratorium? Obviously, it wouldn't cover this dispensary, but for any future requests.
I don't
And
see
that
why
may
you
have to
can't-
be a
I don't see why you
legal
can't do
question.
that. Just because we've had a request, that doesn't mean that we don't we can't have a moratorium, it's just that request is grandfathered.
Yeah, I would think it would be appropriate to have Tom, or in the absence of,
I've drafted one already,
okay.
based on what Joe provided us from other communities. It's just the template that all the other communities, my question is, can we? And then maybe that needs to be a question to go to
Well,
legal first.
Let's approach it this way, I guess. You know, I would entertain a motion that we move forward with establishing a 6-month moratorium pending legal
Review.
substantiation, and even though we may not vote on the specific moratorium wording tonight, at least, I guess, puts a stake in the ground that as of this date.
So moved.
Seconded. I would say that that is done all the time on other issues that are ongoing issues where the town votes on a moratorium, whether it be building or other things, and then the people with building permits that are in, it doesn't affect, but anyone that is, so that happens all the time in other areas.
I don't know, I keep looking at Nancy's face, and I think she has something that she's kind of itching to say, and I wish she would
No,
just
I
kind of say it.
Like I said last week, I think the horse is out of the barn now. And it's gonna have to take legal review anyways for both, but
I think we're covered. We voted not to approve this. So we've acted on his request, so that is moved. That question
Yeah,
has
it
been moved.
doesn't prevent him from still coming to the planning board and
Right.
pursuing it, and if he wants to go through that effort, then he's certainly more than welcome to do that. We have nothing to prevent him from doing that. I think the question is that, in which if we pass this motion, we would have to go to Ken and say, okay, this is what we've done. We want to move forward with establishing a moratorium. At least 6 months. I mean, we really don't know what's going to happen. I think City of Portland is voting today as well, tonight.
it's, I don't have the charter in front of me, but I think I don't know if it's 6 months or 90 days.
Gotta
Number
believe
for
his
the
letter's gone to
emergency.
Portland too.
And then we're going to have to engage, the planning board and whatnot to
So
investigate it further.
really the motion is to at least initiate the action.
Yes.
Right? And we may very well be back here next week voting on what format we're going to utilize and what time frame, right? But at least kicks it off with Ken.
Yeah, and Nancy, I can send you the draft moratorium. It was based on this, like I said, what Joe provided us. I think it was Ellsworth and South Portland. I think I pulled something out of South Portland's as well.
All right. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, well, so we'll, I'm sure Ken will, especially at his new billing rate, will be more than...
Get it before.
All right, map 41, lot 13. Do you have any
I
dollars?
contacted Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
As of Friday, he was still working on the proposal, and he wanted a couple more bits of information, which I sent to him. As of this morning, he said he had put it in the mail.
No.
And I said, I asked him to email it. He said he would, but I did not receive it by time.
All right.
So it should be back on next week with a proposal from
Okay.
State Tech.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Other stuff. We need to, Nancy, do a second executive session? Or no?
Yes.
Before we go into other, I guess I would,
I make a motion that we add an executive session, 1 M.R.S.A. 4056A personnel issue.
I'll second
all those in favor of adding a second executive session? All right, other warrants and bills of payroll?
Um,
that. So moved.
We don't have them.
Second.
All those in favor? Discuss vote, sign minutes of 6:08. We know how to clear a room, don't we?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Pending decisions. Nancy, we need to kill the training issues, right? With the staff. Action list.
Action, the next week, the election process.
Yep.
Excuse me, I
Pam?
just looked, and the emergency ordinance is 90
90 days? Okay. Pam, a letter to this gentleman, Mr. Doobie. And I think it's really, Tammy Jo's got it pretty well done here.
Yeah, Pam has it.
Okay?
She
And we
corrected
probably
the
a note,
corrections.
we really should send him a note saying that we regret to inform him that we will not be supporting his effort, and we have sent the attached letter. Also, we're going to send a letter to Doug and Scott that if they give us proof of out-of-pocket expenses, that we will reimburse them.
I have Scott's.
Pardon?
I have Scott's.
You have Scott's, okay.
Doug has already indicated that.
Discussion of agenda items, we need to John's point, the
The election process.
election process.
Also, we should probably next week set up a goal-setting session in July.
Okay. The workshop, we kind of tentatively nailed that down with the library, so we're all set there. Pam, the correspondence that we had last week, that we weren't going to act on, just everybody kind of read it, what did we do with it?
Pardon?
What did we do with it?
Just told everybody to review it.
Yeah, well, we probably need to bring it back, right?
Is this the first time Asian Taste has had a liquor license?
No, it took 2 years for them to get the first one.
Anything else for agenda items? Sure something will come up. We'll deal with that. All right, let me go through just the reminders before we actually move on here, but don't forget to sign warrants and bills of payroll, minutes of 6/8. There's a concealed weapons permit in there, the Asian Taste liquor license application. Just reminders, planning board tomorrow night, 7
Been
PM.
canceled.
Planning board meeting has been canceled for tomorrow night. EDC tomorrow, Thursday afternoon at 4 here. Garden Club, 6:30 PM at the town hall. Thursday evening, water trustees, Monday the 21st. 12 town group will be here. There's a letter from John Sylvester in your packet here on the table tonight. And next week, we're here, we have reporting out Old Home Days Committee. Again?
It's been there.
Is it really? Okay. Okay. I'd entertain a motion for the executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of going into executive session